Yeah, this is why I love Google so much better. It's just
Ding,
cool. And
ding.
it's got the captions for like the one person who requested that they be able to read what's going on instead of just, I don't know, listening to it. So fine. All right. This is actually episode 58, which is pretty surprising I made it this far. But please introduce yourselves. Simon, I guess we'll start with you since you're on the far left of my screen.
Sure. Hey guys, Simon Christie, MTG Misprint here. Been a while, Eric. Little while.
I know it has been a little bit.
And
Will?
I'm Will McGran. Yeah, I don't know. Probably know
Wheel.
me. If you
Wheel.
don't, yeah,
Wheel.
Wheel. If you don't know me, yeah, howdy. I'm
Good.
don't know what else to say.
That's perfect, Will. That's all it needs to be. So the reason this is the first time I've had more than one person on this podcast in a very long time, but it's because we're interviewing together because somehow you guys decided to play the exact same 75 on the same weekend, just in different locations. And I'm not even sure what the results are, if we're being honest, but that is kind of interesting for a couple different reasons. First off, whose original idea? I'm assuming Simon, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Play the same 75? Yeah.
Yeah, so I would say it's Will's deck and my idea. Maybe that would be in the shortest form.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then just for the three people who listen to this, Will played it in Sin City Open, which was in Las Vegas, and then Simon played his at Festival of Friendship, which was in Austin, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, we'll just get right into it. How did you get to the 75? Like, I feel like you guys both plays like similar decks, but like probably have different ideas. So how did you guys convince each other to get to a 75? Or was it just like, hey, let's just play this 75?
All right. So I guess my setup for this is we both decided independently to play Lion Tog in the Winter Derby. And we both had underwhelming performances by our standards in that one. And so we had been kind of chatting. We have a sort of continuous group chat going on with the two of us and Svanta about all things spiky old school. And we had talked up Lion Tog, and then we both sort of fell flat from expectations with that. And I think we were both kind of looking for something else to play. We both had 4 strip events in person coming up. We weren't sure what to play. And I think it was honestly a pretty quick conversation about where we were going to go with the list. I had considered playing my Copy Tog deck for the Winter Derby, and it just didn't. I built the deck and I kind of screwed up where I had put my sleeves to change them on top of my deck box, and then they fell behind my desk, and I fished out all the sleeves except for 2, and I was goldfishing the deck sans 2 Underground Seas, and it wasn't feeling very good. I was like continually meta screwed, and I was just like, this deck sucks. Like, this deck was so good for me, and now it's terrible. And I was like, I'm just gonna switch back to Lion Tog.
It's an argument for pile shuffling there, Will.
Yeah, I should have. It was impressively long time for me between games. Like, I was just getting so like irritated with the whole thing, and like I should have been pile shuffling, and I'm just like cutting the deck like once and then drawing a new 7. And I'm like, this is garbage. Put it back in, draw a new 7. I'm like, this deck is like cursed. I can't play this. Like, yeah, I should have pile shuffled. I was honestly impressed at the end of the whole thing. I was so confused because I was like pulling the cards out, and I was like, wait, why am I missing 2 sleeves? And then I was like, oh, I just am missing 2 lands in this deck. Like, yeah, this is terrible.
This is like how my 8-year-old, when he's playing, when he mulligans, he just puts the cards on the bottom and draws the next 7.
Exactly.
In old school, that's basically fine. Like,
it was the shotgun approach to goldfishing, but it wasn't good. It wasn't good at all.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think we both fell flat, as Will said. And then my other point, or my other sort of push here, is that I had also picked up a new IC manipulator. So I'm often driven by deck choices nowadays. I do prefer a spikier deck, but also if I get a cool card, I'm trying to play the card. And basically with Icy, basically forced into shops. There's nothing else, especially in Force Strip, that really plays Icy. So sort of just like cost of entry there is I'm going to be playing some sort of shops list. I played, I think it was 2 years ago after Will won the Derby. I played the copy tog list. I think it might have even been Festival of Friendship, or it could have been a Hurricane. I can't remember. Shortly after Will won. So I'd played the deck before and really liked it. I think I'd won that tournament actually that I played in with it before. And so I like the deck as well. So kind of a confluence of not doing great in the Derby, new IC. Will had already put some time and thought into the deck as well. So like Will said, we have this kind of ongoing chat. So we're often posting picks or ideas or just thoughts, questions about decks or card choices. So I think Will had already kind of locked in on playing some sort of shops. And I was already there in my mind. I just hadn't really verbalized it. And then the IC just pushed me all the way in. So I also got to play my Suchi / Damping Field.
Did that cause any trouble?
Afterwards.
Have you? Yeah, I don't. If I'll send you a picture of my deck list, and I can send you the picture of the card. But I have it's a Damping Field with Sushi on the bottom, and the Suchi with the Yawgmoth's demon on the bottom. I have the two connectors from an antiquity sheet, and so I'm playing them both because they both say Suchi. I did have a couple opponents sort of roll their eyes, but everyone's kind of used to me fun cards. So nobody complained too much. But yeah, I definitely played that Suchi Damping Field. And
playing is that event proxy friendly? So nobody can really gripe too much.
Yeah, it's proxy friendly. So I didn't play my real power. I played my proxy power, which is all my artist original power, including my Lotus, my Rush Lotus, just for some sort of kind of fun, right? So I try to build the deck with all miscuts or misprints, but if there's some cards I don't have miscut or misprinted, I was either using original artist alters, or I had a couple of like random proxies that I've been given or won in events. Like I have the you guys seen the twins with Schwarzenegger and Dan DeVito, the Schwarzenegger. So I have one of those. So I only own 3 miscut copy artifacts, unfortunately. I could have played. I have unlimited and CE ones, etc. But I was like, well, we'll just play this. I try to make it kind of fun. So it's all misprinted, miscut, or it's kind of an old school proxy or something that somebody's made at some point just for the fun of it.
Very cool.
So I think ATOG is obviously a clear choice for Force Strip environments. But do you think that this version of ATOG was the right call for this time of year? Like, we could talk through all the different types of ATOG if you guys really wanted to, but do you think like you guys are going to call it Copy Talk? Is that what?
That's what I've been calling it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that's better than like the red, green, blue version that's like Phaetog, or the one that plays Lions like Lion Tog? Like, I mean, there's a couple, like it's all ATOG, but there's like some fairly big differences inside of that archetype, right?
So I would say it's more like, I view it more as a shops deck that just ATOG is a much better, like I'd rather be playing ATOGs than like Juggernaut or Tetravis or that sort of thing. Like ATOG in this deck, you lock someone's mana up, and all of a sudden you're tapping 3 lands with Ices and Relic Barriers, hits a Mox down, and then all of a sudden on your turn you untap and you tap all their blockers, and then you're just in for 17 or something like that.
Yeah,
that's the way that the deck kind of plays out when everything is working well. So I think it's more the ATOG is sort of replaces like Juggernaut, which, I mean, Juggernaut can be good, but also just dies to Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, I think maybe the question is, what are the best decks in Force Strip, right? I think you named a bunch of them, Eric, right? So I think it is Phaetog, Lion Tog, Sagittog, Dibbatog, Copy Tog. And outside of that, it's basically the 12 burn list with Vice and maybe Lion Dib Bolt. anything else is
And shops.
and shops. Yeah.
Good shops.
And shops. Yeah. So, that's whatever, 4 or 5 Tog lists, basically 2 lightning bolt lists and another shop list, right? And so this is kind of in between those two, right? You're kind of, you get the Tog and you get the shops. You even have a lightning bolt on the sideboard. You even have like a little bit of like additional stuff. So it's a good piece. And I think when I played it 2 years ago, one of the local guys, he like played it at the next event, and then he was like, he came up to me, and I think I might have told you this, Will. He came up to me and he's like, when you played it, I liked your list, but I couldn't understand why you had cut all of the Triskelions. So I added 2 Triskelions in, and I never cast Triskelion all day. And I was like, yeah, that's why there's only 2. That's why there's only 2 with the 3 shops. So I think it is. It's in a nice spot, because sometimes the shop list, especially you said Tetrabus, is just bad.
Yeah,
it's so bad. Especially in 4 strip, right? In 4 strip, it's monstrously bad. So having this deck where you have all of your threats can also come down early, so you don't get viced out as easily, right? That's really important.
Or stripped out or viced out. You have to play, and you get to play this weird game, kind of like Will said, where you do play the ICs, where even if they strip you out, you still have a Mox and an IC, even if they stripped out your shop, or even if they stripped out a couple other lands. So you can still interact with them, and like if they're playing Dib or something, you're not in any risk in that situation, even because you have the IC and stuff. And most people are not playing enough ways to remove your ICs and your factories and your Moxen and your Suchi, right? They don't have enough to, and then they also have to worry about Tog. So you get to leverage both of those things. It's always nice. I enjoyed playing it again just for the pure power of IC, right? I think people forget it was extremely powerful in 1993, 1994. It was, overpowering, right? You just think how good IC is against a new Magic player, right? Mm-hmm. And it kind of feels a bit like that sometimes in old school, just because it's hard to interact with. And it's so good with your own strips, with your own relic barriers, etc. And it amplifies with copy, etc., etc. But yeah, I think it's one of the top decks. There's 8 decks or so that we said. Those are realistically the tier 1 decks. And I think Tog is just so good. Like every time you have Tog on an empty board, if you're in the mid game, they have to chump, they have to activate a factory, they have to do a removal spell, otherwise they just potentially lose. So it causes this like pressure, and it's you in the derby, I like lost a game where like I know that my opponent could kill me, but like I can't block, and like I just have to hope they don't have the bolt, right? You sometimes get into that position, and like I did that, I think maybe even twice in the derby, and my opponents killed me both times. Like they had 8 or 9 on board, and I was at like 11 or 12, and they had the bolt. And it's like, but you're like, well, but if I block and lose my guy, now I have no board position, I just die the next turn. So you have to, it puts you in this weird position. And then with IC, it puts you even more in this position, because you can tap a blocker. So now they have to leave 2 blockers up. And then if you ever draw a copy, they're constrained so much. Tog is just great. Yeah, totally agree. ATOG's amazing. That's kind of the genesis of it. And like, I think, to add on to what Simon was saying too, compared to the other ATOG decks, you have so many more artifacts. So your ATOGs are just bigger than theirs. So like you can just kind of outbeef them a lot of the times. I mean, not always, but a lot of the times they're like, oh, my ATOG could be a 7-8. And I'm like, well, yeah, sure. Mine can be like an 11-12. So I don't really want to lose 4 artifacts to do this, or 5 artifacts, but I can do this if I need to.
Okay, that all makes sense. The and I'm gonna ask a question that we kind of pre-talked about this, but do you guys have differences in sideboarding with this deck since you played the Sand 75? Like, do you guys think about that differently, or do you think you guys are probably pretty in alignment with regards to like how you sideboard? Because like most of the time, like what I would do is like I would see your guys' decks, right? And I'm like, oh, those are good decks, and then I would take them and just modify the sideboard a little bit for whatever reason. But like, do you guys think that your sideboarding, like not ethics, like heuristics are similar in nature enough that this worked out for you in this case?
I think we talk about it enough that it probably is fairly similar.
Yeah, we're probably, I don't know, just let's say naturally maybe 80% similar anyway, right? And then, you know, if we talk about it and, you know, Will makes a good point, then that may bump it up even more, right? But yeah, I mean, I think the only card for me, and I know it's good and I have been destroyed by it, but it's never good for me, that was in the sideboard, is Hercules. I just like, and that might be a play style. That could be purely play style. That maybe I'm more like, I will often in a matchup where maybe Hercules is good, I might prefer to have, I don't know, a Beb, let's say, where Will might not be playing the Beb, or maybe I'm playing the second swords or something. But the rest of the cards are pretty much there, you know, when they come in, right? And this shop says you can't over sideboard would be the comment I would say, right?
Yeah, exactly. And I would say with this deck, it's almost like it's a 75 card deck more than 60 plus 15. Like, so many of the cards are ones where it's like, oh yeah, this is on the fence, or oh, I used to play this in the main deck, you know, 4 tournaments ago, but I cut it from the main deck, but now I'll just put it in the sideboard because why not? And I feel like with this, I haven't done that much time like properly mapping out the sideboarding in the same way that I would with, say, the deck, where this is a lot more fluid, just because in my experience, 4-strip is a little bit more random of a format insofar as there aren't as many like really big tournaments that you're really getting to see like, oh, and this is what, you know, in the same way that like LobsterCon has kind of revolutionized, you know, the American old school scene, in my opinion, from a Spike sense of like every year people come out and they bring their best and then you see all the deck lists afterwards. A lot of the 4-strip events, I mean, looking from where the Derby in 2024 and Simon played in the Hurricane event with it, like how many 4-strip events that are really like of note have taken place since then? It's like the Sin City Open, which I don't even know who did well at that last year. I mean, I know, I guess Pete Simpson got second place because that's what he does every year, or Mike Simpson rather.
3 years running.
3 years running.
As Simpson, yeah.
Simpson brother got second place.
One of the brothers,
one of the brothers Simpson, But
I feel like
from that,
it's sort of cheating with the Simpsons, right? Because you never know which one it is, and so like, one of them did well. Well, there's 2 of them. Like one of them should do well.
They played a like 74 card mirror match to like kind of decide who was the one who that like happened outside at one point in the event.
One of them made top 8 of Hurricane when they came, and I can't remember which one. Sorry, Simpsons. You guys are the same to me.
They can also interview together. Like, it's fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's just the Derby, basically. It is basically the only, and because I think a lot of the 4-strips, there are more 4-strips, but the results are not superly published, I would say, as well, right? I think there was a while where like the only deck lists from the US were EC events, right? Early days, old school. And now we've kind of gone the other way, and now it's mostly Swedish and Atlantic. There's a lot less, I think. At least that's my impression. Maybe I'm wrong, but there seems to be a lot less 4-strip events publishing. Not that there's less events, but just they're not publishing. I mean, Chalice is a great example of that. You have a 64-ish person tournament every year that doesn't publish results. So, you know, that's one event. And I think
nothing comes out of Chicago.
Nothing comes out of Chicago. I don't actually know. I know Sean does like 4-strip, but I'm not sure if he actively publishes. Not that he doesn't publish it, but I think again, those are sort of more it's about the atmosphere maybe more than the tournament, if that makes sense as well, right? It's about the Friday night event and like the theme of the event, not just, hey, I made top 8 or whatever the situation is. But I do think that there is less data, which is interesting because it's kind of the opposite. So like people, and I see this all the time, especially in Texas, where like a lot of the old school, they play in like the 2 or 3 events a year, right? They play in the Austin event, they play in my event, and maybe that's kind of it. They're not traveling for old school. And someone will wheel out a deck that like I haven't seen since 2018. because they just like net deck to deck from
They're
Chicago
playing
or
the
whatever.
Steve Menendian counterburn deck.
Yeah, yeah,
And you're
exactly.
like, wow.
Old school players
Okay.
ball 2019, last one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, who top aided with that? That was a good event for two of the three
Yeah.
people on the call here.
I was just trying to think through like 4-strip events that have 100 or more people, right? Because like I can name you Swedish and
Derby.
Atlantic.
Derby.
Yeah.
I think it's just Derby.
Derby,
Just-
and yeah, now that Eternal Weekend is not a 100 plus person event, yeah, there's not much.
And like I think we were talking about this in Vegas, but like honestly, James and Brian Begso's event is like the premier 4-strip tournament, right? Like Sean's events are obviously great and he pulls big numbers, but it's really for his Friday event, right? Like nobody can tell you who won last year. I can tell you who won last year, but like nobody can tell you who won last year at Sean's event.
Right.
But they can tell you exactly what the Friday night event was and like how much.
And also all the artists that came.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah,
that's a huge draw for those
it's
events.
much more. Yeah, it's much more than just the magic for sure for Sean's events. Yeah, I mean, and there's events, Kumite, right? That's happening every year, and that's 60-ish people. I might be off by 20 people, but that sort of numbers, and those are not. Again, I think they are published, but not like so broadly.
But where are they published, right? Like,
exactly. Well,
it's just on somebody's Facebook. Like they're just like, here was the top 8, and like it's like it's like their personal Facebook.
They have a I guess they have like a Discord for Kumite, right?
Sure.
So like I wouldn't even know where to go find the top 8 of the one. Like Will and I went to one a couple of years ago. I wouldn't even know where to go find that top 8.
I have no idea.
Quite frankly, and I played in the event. And I still wouldn't know where to go to find it. So it's interesting. I think 4-strip is and people are not playing it all the time. It's super punishing, right? Just the amount of games I saw where like people just made one wrong decision because they played the wrong land or they didn't strip when they should have, and suddenly they lost the game. And it's the consequences are just like it's over, and you can't really get back into those games sometimes, especially against Tog or Vice or Bolts. It's very hard to get back into those games, whereas in Swedish or Atlantic you have a little more wiggle room. Not to say that you can just make willy-nilly mistakes, but you have a little bit more wiggle room to get back into the game.
You're at least playing Magic. You're like on the back foot, but you're at least playing like an interactive game. In 4-strip,
correct,
you're not interacting after a certain point in time where it's like, oh yeah, you ran out that land that you shouldn't have run out. Yeah, it's gone. It's never coming back.
Yeah.
You're not getting, you should have waited a turn and held the white source, and you played the volcanic instead of the tundra. Well, you're never casting that disenchant. The game's just going to end, and you're going to have, a disenchant stuck in your hand.
Yeah, and you'll just to like rub it in, you'll probably draw the divine offering that you had it brought in as well, and maybe even a swords, just to like really amplify like how much you screwed up. And you don't get those in Swedish and Atlantic. You get like, because your mana is a bit more protected, when you mess up, you have the out to draw balance 3 turns later, or to draw mind twist a couple turns later. Like Will said, you just don't have the land, so like you just can't, like, even if you draw the card, you're just never going to cast it. Like you're never going to be able to play it. So I think that's the other piece about the sideboard is that there's the dual land in the sideboard. Obviously you have to morph the mana a tiny bit. And you're looking at max, I think 3 cards coming in as a general rule of thumb. Plus maybe
I think
a
I
land.
probably boarded more, and that maybe is why spoiler it didn't go as well for me. Though I don't know if that's really why. I think I just kind of got screwed, but such as life.
I try to keep the mana, like the colored sources, similar to how the original deck's built, because it is. I mean, it's very powerful, but it is fragile. Yeah. But all of the good decks are fragile in 4-strip, so it's not a criticism of the deck. It's more that once you bring in, I don't know, the disenchant, the divine offering, and 2 swords and a tundra, you have to be careful how you're sideboarding, what you're sideboarding out. And like now you have a deck that had 3 white cards and
Yeah.
has 7 white cards. That's a huge difference, and you just
Yeah.
don't have enough sources, even though you might
Yep.
want all those cards. So I sometimes will bring in a more marginal card, like maybe because I'm bringing in the Tundra in, I want another Swords or I want another Divine,
Yeah.
but maybe I'm bringing in a Bab that is
Or you
like
bring in the Bolt because
exactly.
it does a close
Exact-
enough facsimile. Yeah.
Exactly. So you're sort of balancing, hey, I want all the removal because I'm playing against, I don't know, mono green aggro. And it's like, yeah, but you can't
Mhm.
bring in all the removal.
Mhm.
So like you
Right.
can maybe bring in I mean, you could probably bring in the two the 2 red spells and the 2 white spells. 4 sort of cards is probably fine.
Yeah.
But like if you start to want other stuff as well, it becomes tricky. I mean, I think it's the hardest thing in Magic is sideboarding, right? I mean,
Yeah. And for Strip, it's so much more punishing because, like you said, the mana is always kind of shaky. And in this deck, there's not many decks where, yeah, a lot of decks have Demonic Tutor, Mind Twist, and then they have blue power and then they have, red cards. But there's not a lot of decks that have definitively, like, you have a good chunk of red cards, you have a good chunk of blue cards, and you have a good chunk of white cards post sideboard. And, like, then you also have workshops that are eating up some of your colored sources. So it's like, you don't want to be playing 25 lands, but you also need to have the mana. So that was one of the biggest topics that ahead of the Derby in 2024 that Svante, Simon, and I kind of went back and forth on how to tweak the mana and how to make it kind of like just right. And I mean, it's not perfect, but it works well enough for what it is because, yeah, I mean, there's just so many competing interests in terms of what you want the mana to do, and like you said, Simon, the requirements and like the real power ranking of sort of, oh, and this is a matchup where Swords is really important. Well, yeah, I would love to also have Divine Offering and Disenchant, but I can't have all of these things. I'm going to be stuck with too many colored sources, too many colored cards, but not enough sources for it, and you have to kind of be willing to do that sort of like mental math or just kind of be a little more conservative and just be like, hey, this deck is good. I'm sure it's good again, kind of thing. Like realistically, you could probably just run back the 60 and be fine in most matchups. Maybe you change one card and like you'd be fine by and large.
Yeah, I guess you use the workshop sometimes as like to protect your color sources in these
Yeah.
weird situations too, where you're like, I need to protect the plateau that's in my hand because I'm going to need to play whatever, a balance later. And so you play the shop even though you don't have anything to play before you like get to 6 because they're also afraid of you playing Triskelion or so you there's like some fun interaction that you don't get with other for strip decks because I don't think there's any other deck where you really have that much. I guess maybe if you're running like Pendelhaven or something like that where you want to protect that. But having the workshop as sort of a protector for other lands is an interesting thing that I don't think exists in a lot of other places. And doesn't even exist in the other shops deck, I would argue.
Yes.
Because
totally.
the mana is much more even in that deck.
Mm-hmm.
I think you guys have already touched on it, but what do you think? Best card, worst card? What would you change if you could run it back today or this weekend?
Honestly, the cards that weren't great for me were the Triskelions. I got stripped out of a lot of like Simon was just saying, right? Sometimes you run out the workshop and you really actively want someone to strip your workshop. Like if you play a workshop and then you drop, say, an Icy, and you don't have any other cards that you're casting off the workshop, they strip your workshop. That was like a dark ritual that that made them discard a strip mine. Like that's the most amazing dark ritual, like Black Lotus, you could ever have. But the problem is sometimes you play the workshop and you cast the Icy or the Suchi, they instinctively kill your workshop because, oh my god, that's a workshop that taps for 3 mana. I need to kill that. And I had it a couple times where it was like, and I have a Trike in my hand, and I'm just never casting this now. So that was like the thing where we were kind of on the fence was I was not sure if I wanted to play a Lightning Bolt in the main deck or I wanted to play the second Triskelion. I think if I were to do it over again, I think I might play that Lightning Bolt in the main deck instead. But I had played previous versions where I didn't play any Triskelions, and part of the issue is you sort of get into spots against these white heavy removal decks where you're just like don't have enough threats potentially. And so that was what we were sort of trying to avoid with adding the Triskelions. Obviously, a really good card when it hits, but I just found myself getting stripped out a couple times. But I think that that's more just variance than anything. So my answer is probably nothing, or I would maybe maybe take out one trike and add a bolt or something like that, or maybe an earthquake. I don't know, something like that. How about you, Simon?
I think I would keep it the same. Like Will said, I think that was the only piece in the 60 that we really had any discussion about was that last Triskelion. I do think when you have 29 mana sources, you can kind of flood. You can flood.
Yeah.
It's weird to say in Force Strip because it's
Yeah.
but it's feast or famine is often
Yeah.
the way the games go, and so I do like the Triskelion. I do think an Earthquake or something is reasonable, or even like a second Fireball might be fine. Triskelion is basically a Fireball in a lot of like situations. You just get to play, or it's like a Pyrotechnics or whatever, right? You're just pinging a couple creatures. You do have the shop, so like I think I like having the two Triskelions. They were good for me for sure. I had some like weird matches over the day, but I had a match where I mulliganed to 4 and I kept Shop, Mox, Factory, Triskelion.
Ooh.
And I could have kept I could have kept a more conservative hand where I bottom the Triskelion and keep like a copy for the Factory and just like go that. But I was like, I think I have to get lucky on 4, and it's like not a powerful 4. I won that game. Spoiler, I won that game. Because my opponent was greedy, a little bit greedy. So I went like, so he's on the play. I drew Icy, and I was like, I'm just going to jam this Icy. So I played the Icy, and he attacks in with Factory. And I'm like, all right, we're just gonna hope to get there. And I cast the Triskelion. Like he didn't blow up the shop, and I cast the Triskelion, and he like definitely is supposed to strip that. He was thinking, like we talked about after game, he's like, I just didn't think you had anything. Like you're on, you're on 1 or 2 cards left in your hand. Like what do you even have? Like, and it's like, I mean, but I also mulligan to 4, so you have to assume that like even if it's a Suchi, you're probably still supposed to strip me there. So.
Right.
But yeah, Triskelion is so good. Like I played against like a green weenie deck, and like Triskelion is just like insane there. Can be tricky to cast. Can be tricky to cast, but like if you ever get to cast it, it's just blowout. I like Earthquake. I think Earthquake and Tog is probably a little bit underplayed nowadays. I think it was very played, maybe the 2018-19 era, and I think everyone went to burn spells, and they've kind of gotten away from Quake, and like Quake is just so good. I love like the Cyborg Quake was amazing for me. I killed 2 Scavenger Folk with it, which is insane. And like I think an elf or something else as well. But I like Quake main. But yeah, I would keep the 60 the same. Like I said, I think the only cut for me in the 75 that I don't love is the Hercules, and that's just, I think that maybe is just playstyle. Even in the Vice decks, I'm a bit medium on it. The highs are super high. But sometimes you just draw it and it kind of does nothing. And I'm just not, I just don't love that.
Sure.
Great. Kind of just to wrap this out, how you guys want to talk through how well or not well we did? I actually don't. I know I think you did pretty well. Will, I think you were close to me, which is usually not a good thing, but well, that's how I rate it. Do you guys want to just talk through like anything special from the individual tournaments?
Sure. So I finished up 4-3, which is like probably my worst outing that I've had with this deck. But it was just one of those days where it was just not really meant to be for me. Like I had my first round, my opponent won the die roll and played turn 1 Soul Ring. I played land, Mox, Felwar Stone pass. He played a Mind Twist for 3 of my 4 cards on turn 2. I dropped an Icy, then he just dropped a disc, and then followed it up with a bunch of trolls. And then game 2, I mulled to 5, and I had turn 1 Time Walk into turn 2 Suchi with an ATOG and a Factory to follow it up, but he had turn 1 Library, and then he had a Energy Flux on turn 2. And yeah, that wasn't really meant to be. I had another one where, yeah, I just flooded out one game against a black white deck. Then I in game three, he got I kept kind of a weird six. I went strip mine go. I'm thinking like, okay, I'm just gonna kind of play this slow. He's on like black white mid range, and he went swamp, mox jet, dark ritual, double him you, and then he stripped me on the following two turns. And somehow we kept playing Magic beyond that, but it was just one of those games where like the last turn he's swinging in with two hippies. I have a trike in play, and then he finally swords my trike, and I'm just like, okay, yeah, you've like your last card is swords, then yeah, I'm done. Um, and then the last one that I lost was I played against Levi, and the first game he was on Dibitog. The first game he got his copy and his shatter, which I'm pretty sure he was just playing one of each. And he like copied my Suchi and then shattered my Suchi, and that didn't go well for me. And then I won the second game kind of running away. And then the third game, he was on the play. I kept a hand that was I had Underground Sea, Ancestral, Time Walk, Copy Artifact, Mind Twist, but I had no second mana source. But I'm on the draw, and I'm like, okay, I have Ancestral on turn one. I basically have 5 draw steps to hit a land or a mana source, and then I can Time Walk or Copy Artifact and then Mind Twist him. I just didn't draw land
Yeah.
in those 5 draw steps, and by the time I think I discarded 3 or 4 cards that game, and by the time I finally hit the second land, I was just way too far behind and lost. But aside from that, I pretty much smashed everyone that I played. I think I lost one other game. Aside from that, most of the games were just absolutely demolishing people. Just like taking a sledgehammer and to their knees, and they're just done. They're, it's like, okay, yeah, you're not gonna walk anymore. Like you don't have any.
Love
The game ends, and they're just like, it's like 10, 5, 10 minutes. I felt like I had so much time between every round because when I beat people, I just crushed them, and it was just there was nothing that anyone was doing, kind of thing. They were like, there was no shadow of a doubt. There was no like, oh, we were in like a tight race. It was just you're dead. Game's over. You got totally locked out. You didn't play any spells, and I hit you with an ATOG for 17 damage.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Big togs are good.
When they're good.
They're very good. I had some like highlights of the day for me. I won on a mult of 5, even though I got hemmed. As well. That's another one. I mean, I had to Ancestral into Time Twister, but like,
They always have it.
got there. I beat a Shatterstorm, blowing up, my board, basically. I also had an insane game where I beat an Energy Flux, where I have, I think, 2 Suchis in play, and he had Tog as well, I think, in this game. And so I sacked my Suchis for the mana, kind of keep, half of my board of artifacts, let's say, and force him to block with his Tog. And then Time Twister into Time Walk to get another turn so that I can put him to one, and then have like a Tog and a Factory against, I think, just a Factory on his side, and like get to attack for 1 the next turn. It was kind of a wild Energy Flux play. Won a game with 2 cards left in my library, which is like a wild game. And like the only reason it took so long was because basically the way that I needed to win was I needed to Geddon or Fireball him. And Geddon was the 3rd from last card, and Fireball was the 2nd from last card. But I was just playing for every turn. So like my ICs and copies, I'm like tapping all this stuff so that I can like try to, because I'm gonna have to force Geddon through Counterspell. And I got there in the end, so I like just had 2 Suchis and I think some Factories. Basically, I had like he's at 8 for like a million tons. But anyway, so that was pretty fun. I ended up 2nd, which was good, other than a bit of a bummer since I've won the last 2, so I didn't get to three-peat.
Was it on breakers? Did you lose a match, or
I
did it cut
lost
short?
I lost 1 match. And I will talk about that because it's somewhat interesting, I think. So yeah, I 2-0'd all my other opponents, and then I went 1-2 in my loss. Won game, he was playing Sagittog. So he's playing Sagittog. So we split the first two games. The first game is like an insane. I have like wheel and like I actually have ancestral and wheel, but I can't play them both. So I actually just have to wheel like discarded my ancestral, which like I don't really love to do. Yeah, because sometimes you just like you can never like do that. Like anyway, I like crushed him that game. Then I had a game 2 where he just like he's on the play and he like vices me, shatter, just does all of the aggro tog stuff, and it has like a million artifacts. So his togs are better than my togs. Then game 3, I'm on the play and have like a fine hand where I'm gonna go like Factory Soul Ring, and then I have more mana and like ices and stuff in hand, which is all I really want to do against the Sedge Troll deck because they are a bit slower. So as long as you can get under Vice and then slow the game down, I should be able to win. And then he goes Factory, Soul Ring, Mox, double Relic Barrier. And just to add insult to injury, he only has 2 Relic Barriers in the 75. And the reason they're there is because I told him to play Relic Barrier.
Oh,
it's on you. It's on you. That's on you.
And he also has 2 copies. And so actually this game was interesting because like I never used any mana from Soul Ring, which is brutal. That just tells you how this game went.
Rough.
And he has 2 copies in the sideboard. He draws both of his copies to copy my ices. So he always has like icy Relic Barrier advantage. But we get into the situation where he has a Tog and a Sedge Troll. And I managed to leverage to play balance to kill his Tog and his Sedge Troll. And so I'm like, okay, and I have a Factory in play. And he's like low because he had a City of Brass. So he's at, I don't know, 12 or something. And so, but then he like proceeds to top deck like Strip Mine from my Factory into copy to copy my icy, so that instead of having parity, I think I had 2 ices and 2 Relic Barriers. Now he has 3, and it just easily walks away with it from there. But it was the balance, like I was like losing all the way to the balance. It was like, okay, I'm killing a Sedge Troll and a Tog. Like now I can actually get back into this game. And like if he doesn't draw the Strip Mine, even I might be able to like sneak in. But anyway, it was a close game, a close match. But yeah, it was a good day. Can't complain about second. Also won a Beta Nightmare in the raffle.
Nice.
Okay. All right.
Nice.
Can't be upset about that.
Yeah, I had it was a lighter day of drinking than usual. I've been cutting back, so it was like a maybe 50%.
Dryish January. There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just social drinking. So maybe like 1 drink every other round instead of 1 drink every round. So just let my liver breathe a little bit more. So
but no, hard to do distance hikes with a bad hangover and hurting liver.
Yeah, we did. I dragged out a couple of guys on Sunday morning to go do a hike Sunday morning. There's not a lot of altitude Central Texas, but the hike was like 5,500 steps in 6 miles. So it's a little bit less than about 1,000 feet of altitude, but it was a good little hike. And it's funny, both the guys messaged me the next day and were like, Simon, my calves and Achilles are killing me. And I was like, yeah, good. It's good. So I had to drive back. I was hoping to do an overnight and a camp, but Sunday night I had to drive back because I had a work call at 9:30 p.m. on Sunday. Yeah, till midnight. So yeah, it was brutal. It was brutal. Especially with Monday being, a holiday or whatever. But yeah, it was a good weekend. The deck was great. I mean, other than the Hercules, which again, I think I just need to keep playing it till like it becomes relevant. Same in the other tog lists. I always cut it from my Lion Tog and stuff as well for similar reasons. And I think it's even better there because of Vice. I
think so too.
Yeah. But no, deck was great.
I mean, cool.
Great. Anything else we want to add before I hit the unrecord? The stop record?
I guess Sin City Open was a really good time. I was glad to make it out for that. I felt like James did a great job on all the swag and all of that. I also really liked how he did it where Damien basically is like the tournament organizer and James is like the front man and like the hype guy. That was kind of fun. because I've seen it before at events where the person who is like the host of the event is also doing like the tournament organizer stuff, and then the partying gets the best of them, and then the tournament kind of goes off the rails where it's like, hey, I'm having a good time right now, but like it's been an hour and a half since the last round, and like you're too drunk to be entering in data right now. So I think it was really nice. Like I think that's a really smart way to do it, where you can have someone who is like, sort of your designated driver being your DTO, your designated tournament organizer, who is going to be like there and sober and, making sure that everything runs smoothly. That was a really nice feature, I thought.
Nice.
Yeah,
I agree. Well run tournament for sure.
I wish it wasn't on the same weekend as Festival of Friendship.
Yeah,
because
I
I really would
makes
like
it
to
tough for
go.
you.
Yeah, because it's like, well, I can drive to this one, and I think I've been to every one. I think this is 5th.
I think I attended the first or second one, so this would be the 5th.
Yeah,
I
so
think.
there's been a lot
Pretty
of
sure.
them. I think I've been to all of them, and yeah, it's just hard. It's hard to say no to the event that's close. But the Sin City one looks amazing. I would love to attend.
So
and-
you can't gamble yourself away afterwards in
At the
Austin.
airport.
We can go to you can't gamble at the airport in Austin. You can go to like one of the card houses there, but
well, I'm not
I
flying
think
to
you
Austin,
could gamble.
so I don't-
You could gamble, but you're gambling in a different way. You could like gamble on the highway by honking at someone, finding out whether they have a gun.
you could. There's a different type of gambling. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gamble with your life, not your money.
high risk, high stakes. Yeah, I mean, I think you have to drive up to closer to north of Dallas if you want to do casino gambling in Texas. There's like a big casino north of there, right? So there's some Indian casinos, sort of on the
I only know the
Texas-Oklahoma
one that's
border.
like, yeah, as soon as you cross into Oklahoma, I know
Win-
I've been to that one. It's actually really nice.
Windstar, I
It's-
think.
Yeah,
That used to
it's
be
like
what
in the
it's
middle of a
called.
cornfield. You like literally can just pull off. Like it's in a good location if you enjoy. Like it's actually a reasonably nice casino as well.
Or Houston, you
anybody driving-
go to Louisiana, I guess. If you're from Houston, it's closer to go to Louisiana if you want to get some gambling in.
Yeah. Lake Charles is the closest casino.
That is
Case-
sad.
In
That
case
is
anybody was wondering.
depressing.
No.
if you want depressing scenes of gambling,
Yeah.
please go to Lake Charles.
Yeah.
It's
It's not the worst. I mean, there's
no,
There's
I just
worse
play
casinos.
I just play Pai Gow. So I mean, it's just me and a bunch of old Vietnamese ladies playing Pai Gow, which is
Yeah.
fine.
It's a great way to spend the afternoon.
Yeah, and they have because there's like a large Vietnamese population that goes. They have all these like weird drinks. Weird. I don't know what they are, and I'm like, I want that. Whatever that lady, just bring me
What they're
that.
drinking. Give me one
Yeah.
of those.
Like, oh, it's like some sort of Vietnamese coffee drink thing. Okay, cool. Let's try it. Like, I'm in. So,
Wow.
oh, this one has like weird bits of jelly in. Like, all right, like I love it. Yeah, I'm here for it. Yeah, nothing else. I guess I locked in Hurricane for September 5th
Ooh,
and
I need to go
6th.
to the calendar. Okay.
Nice.
And I think I'm gonna do old school Saturday as normal, maybe Atlantic, and Sunday I might do pre-modern or middle school, just to mix it up. Usually we do vintage, but might mix it up this year and do pre-modern or middle school as a
Sweet.
new flavor.
Yeah. No X points. I'm just joking. I don't want to start another hour
Don't.
conversation.
Oh my
The,
God.
we'll leave it for later.
All the rage
All right,
this year.
Yeah, apparently. All right, I'm gonna hit stop on this recording real quick.
Yeah.
Probably.
Thank you, Eric.
Thanks, Eric.
Yeah. All right, hold on.